Protect yourself and your family from unexpected challenges. Consider accident-only income protection. Click the link in the description to find out more.
Last thing I want to touch on, Dom, is it was a big talking point in the build-up to the fight. I know you watched a bit of TalkSport. Tyson's manager, Spencer Brown, mentioned early in the week that TalkSport were banned from the event. Shane Fury told me as well that they were banned from the event, and from their perspective, they were banned because of a negative agenda towards Tyson Fury. But obviously, they've hit back, and Simon Jordan, referred to YouTube channels as these YouTubers, bedroom bloggers, and I genuinely hope he wasn't referring to me because I feel like we're a bit more than that.
You work out the living room and not the bedroom, don't you?
Basically that. But I respect Simon. He does what he does, and it is entertaining. But it's a different type of media, and obviously he basically highlighted that he has said a lot more positive things, but he feels like the negative things got highlighted. Because I think one of the comments he made was that Tyson should be ashamed of himself if he doesn't fight Usyk, and obviously he's fighting Usyk. But obviously, if you read the titles of the videos, they come across as negative. So what I wanted to ask you, based on all that, is, and Adam Cattrall's another one. Obviously, he made some comments as well. I think he referred to YouTubers, and the unfortunate thing is TalkSport is a YouTube channel as well. So I couldn't get the comparison, and I think they only started a couple of years ago. And obviously, just referring to Boxing King Media, we've been in this for 5-6 years now. So obviously, their line of media is slightly different. They give opinions, and they also interview the fighters that they give opinions about. And what I want to ask you, Dom, is can you be both, or can you just be one? Because it's a tricky period where if you're giving an opinion about a fighter and it's quite a negative opinion, and then you're looking to interview that same fighter, should the fighter give an interview to that person, or are they overreacting if they're refusing to speak to them or banning them from events? What's your perspective?
We don't like to think that that the news is real, and I think as time's gone on, especially over the last 10 years, there's a lot of fake news, isn't there? There's a lot of people with their own agenda. It's been taken out of the hands of the the established kind of press from years ago. I can always remember being a kid, and the papers like the Guardian and the Observer and all these big papers based in London, and then you'd read something like in the Daily Star or the Mirror and the Sun, tabloids, monkeys land on the moon, or some stupid headline, and I used to go to work with some guys, and obviously because I was linked in boxing back in those days, this is a period of the Harold Graham days, and the stuff I used to read, like the headlines about Nigel Benn, Frank Bruno, and when you've got a bit of inside knowledge, you know it's a load of rubbish. But these fellas who I work with, the Daily Mirror or the Sun or the Daily Star, whatever they were printing was absolute gospel. And I used to think, how could you be so gullible? And as time's moved on, there's the format of YouTube, and there's all these other people and presenters, and we've got free speech, and ultimately people will listen to what they think is genuine, and they'll make their own call. Simon Jordan's getting a big name for being controversial and putting it on people's toes and saying what he thinks. Well, that's all right, but there's a consequence to that. And the consequence is that people will block you out. You can't control the press, but if you're going to say stuff like that, you've got to, understand that somebody's going to put the block on you. And Frank's done it before with certain people. They do it with people ringside. If they don't get positive reviews, they don't get a press pass. And they control people. There are loads of, I think there were a time, maybe one of the boxing news editors, it might have been Claude Abrams or one of those, were getting blocked off and not getting ringside passes for the things because he wasn't doing positive reviews of shows. So it's just the part and parcel of how boxing and media are these days. And, you can either kiss up to people and, give false praise and all these other things and get your tickets to the show, or you can kick off and get blacklisted, or you can just be honest and give a view of actually what's not trying to get clicks or trying to get big numbers, and just give your honest opinion. And if you do that, you'll always be all right. But with Simon, he is a bit controversial, and he likes to really get down people's, up people's backs and rub them up the wrong way, and there's a downside to that.
Shane Fury said he had no issues with having opinions, but the opinions are going to be backed up by facts, and they felt that the opinions that were being said were backed up just...
You know what, I'm surprised because, you know, I don't think Tyson would be actually that bothered. You can't really stop people talking about you, good or bad. And as they say, any publicity is good publicity. You know, if people are always going to have their opinions and you know, spread untruths or spread lies, or realistically, you know, probably 80% of what goes off in the newspapers is not facts. It's just opinions and, you know, false agendas, I think. But you like getting bothered about that. It's like I don't think why you concern yourself about it. I think the broader way it's covered, boxing, by everybody, and you know, there's going to be positive, negative, ambivalence. It's all, as long as it's getting out there, and as long as Tyson's winning or boxers are winning, then it's a plus. So you know, I don't understand why you'd be wound up about it, what people say about you.
The other aspect of it is, I saw some people say this online as well, is negative media about British sporting stars. Obviously, we're talking about TalkSport, so we know from... in fact, let me change my battery. I've got to change the battery. Quick battery change there, Dom. Thank you for that. So, as I was saying, the question I was going to ask you was, a lot of the other side of this is how we, you know, in Britain especially, celebrate our sporting stars. And I think one of the criticisms that's come off TalkSport is the fact that they've had fallouts with Anthony Joshua, Conor Benn, Eddie Hearn, and obviously now Tyson Fury. All four of them are probably the biggest names in British boxing. So is it them overreacting, or is it TalkSport maybe being too negative, or is it a case of there needs to be some middle ground? You know, what's your opinion on that? Because they're the two arguments from both sides.
I think it's always been the case in Britain that they build up the stores to knock them down. They build them up, get as much out of the stores as they can while they're building them up. And then when they're on the slide, you know, give them a big fall because we can report out of that. So that's my opinion on them. And if you want to be better than the competition, you know, they're talking about TalkSport and Simon Jordan. You know, if they're complaining about all these YouTubers and all this social media reporting, if you want to, you know, be better than the competition, then be better than the competition. Don't be trying to put people down by words saying they're not as good as this and all these YouTubers, these, you know, amateurs or whatever. Just be better, just outshine everybody. You know, that's where you get the views. Outshine everybody, do your work. Don't just go for controversy. Be better than everybody else, and then you'll come through. But trying to get in front of people by putting them down, just outshine them. And the rubbing shoulders, you know, and the rubbing people up the wrong way, like you said, with all these big names, well, they'll get blackballed and they'll get blacklisted. So maybe it's about time to change the perspective on what they do, and you know, start trying to build bridges and just report on the facts instead of speculation. Report exactly what's going on, because people just want the news. But now what they're doing is they're shining it up, or they're causing controversy over certain things when it probably don't need to be any.
I just wanted to get your opinion on that. Like I said, there are two sides of the argument, because if everyone just concentrated on positivity, unfortunately, with the world we live in, everyone wants two sides of the coin. You need negativity and positivity because it makes people interact. But I think the key thing I wanted to ask you was, can you be both? Can you be the person that's there giving opinions about fighters and maybe putting them down or saying negative things about them, but then at the same time you want to interview them a week later? Can you be both?
In this day and age, you can, because you can be more than one face in this day and age, can't you? It's like...
Should a fighter put up with that?
Well, the simple thing is it's the fighter's choice. This goes even back to the Naz days. I remember Naz didn't like something what Colin Hart was saying about him in certain things, and they did the same with him. They kind of had to go at him, cut him off, made it difficult for him. You know, exercise a bit of power. I think at some points they were even blocking people getting press passes. So there's always going to be that, you know, in sport or in news anyway. It's down to the individual. I think the stronger character are the ones just trying to say, well, you know, I'm going to carry on doing what I'm doing. You report what you want. I don't really care. I'm going to do my thing. That's what you've got to do. And you know, each team will stand and fall by what they do, won't they? If Tyson's doing what he's doing and he's winning, as long as Tyson's winning, regardless how he's winning, he's always going to be in front. Don't matter what. You're never going to please everybody. Always going to have some detractors. You're always going to have somebody message me, are you watching the Tyson Fury fight tonight? I hope he gets levelled. Why? I don't like him. It's just for the simple reason they don't like him. You know, you think him being British and he's the world champion and it's all, you know, it's good for British boxing regardless. You think everybody will be behind him, but there's always going to be somebody who don't like somebody for some reason or other. It's just the way it is. It's never been any different. It's just that there's more ways to express these days, more outlets. Every Tom, Dick and Harry's got an opinion. And so all for these people, they can have the opinion, they can have their opinion, but most of them are not well informed at all.
Protect yourself and your family from unexpected challenges. Consider accident-only income protection. Click the link in the description to find out more.